ही दिग्गजों के साथ बातचीत हमारे सहयोगी जो वहां पर मौजूद है उन्होंने की है। आपको कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया के महाकुंभ में पहुंची हस्तियों को सुनाते हैं। डिलॉयट इंडिया के सीईओ रोमल शेट्टी से हमारी सहयोगी सोनाली ने खास बातचीत की है, वो सबसे पहले देखें।
Well, I'm at this glittering ET Awards, the Corporate Excellence Awards, the Oscars of Business Awards, really, and I am standing with the new CEO of Deloitte. Well, thank you so much, Romil, for gracing us with your presence, but very happy to be speaking with you. New blood always brings a new vision. What is your vision currently for Deloitte as you have just taken over?
Yeah, the vision is really, India is at a time when it can really sort of spring out and go out in the world in terms of make a real mark. And I think this is the time, this is the decade for India. And my view is this is the decade for Deloitte in India as well to make that mark. So that's really our vision, is to be combined with the country's prosperity, the industry's prosperity, and of course, very importantly, also for our communities, because I think that's something that we strongly believe in as well.
Romil, every time you speak to an industry leader, everybody talks about how optimistic they are. But I want to get a realistic view from you. We are definitely seeing some global softening happening across markets. The macroeconomic global factors are obviously going to impact the Indian economy. Also, it's a lot of pressure on different industries, given the fact that we've just come out of a pandemic. There is the Ukraine-Russia war that is happening, inflation, oil prices, you name it. We have a lot of headwinds. At a time like this, do you see a softening of the Indian economy? I know everybody says that we are strongly poised to take this on, but what do you see as the immediate so-called obstacles for India, and what is the consumption story as we see more and more people losing jobs every day? You have large companies who are laying off people, so there is a bit of a fear factor coming back in. How would you say that we should be looking at all of these factors?
So first is, if you really see India globally, right, most countries are having sub 3%, sub 2% recession, or in some kind of recession, right? In India, we're still growing. Worst estimates 5.9, best estimates maybe 6.5%, 7%. So that is happening. Now, there are fundamentally two or three different things. One is India was largely services, but today, if you see, there's a lot more in the manufacturing side that is happening for the first time. Second, if you really see again, agri, for example, there's a lot more focus on agri, which is a large percentage of our population. Sure. So if you take these two critical parts as well, which services, and even in services, interesting, while there have been a lot of layoffs, you'll be surprised that a lot of the corporates who are non-tech companies are actually absorbing some of these people. So they're not really unemployed.
तो डिलॉयट इंडिया के सीईओ से खास बातचीत ईटी अवार्ड्स पर, इसके अलावा जेएम फाइनेंशियल के अतुल मेहरा से हमारे सहयोगी अजय शर्मा ने खास बातचीत की। आइए आपको सुनाते हैं।
Which sectors are in demand and is in focus?
So the story, the narrative remains the same. Any company and every sector which has jewels in it is looked very favorably. But if you are looking out for the trends across the board, I think financials are doing very well. Investors are looking at financials very progressively. I would say to some extent even defense, manufacturing, multinationals which have setups in India and are expanding fast, they are being looked very progressively.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great evening. We'll chat up later.
तो ये थे जेएम फाइनेंशियल के एमडी और को सीईओ अतुल मेहरा। लेकिन आगे बढ़ते हैं और कुमार मंगलम बिरला से ईटी नाउ स्वदेश के मैनेजिंग एडिटर निकुंज दालमिया ने खास बातचीत की, वो सुने।
Birla, the word investment Mahakumbh, that was your original term, which in a sense is a clear indication of how excited you were and you are about where the corporate India is moving. Would you still say the best of the corporate capex, the investment Mahakumbh, is yet to come?
I think it's happening already, Nikunj. I'm sure it'll only increase. So in that sense, yes. But it's a very good time to be investing by corporate India. I think that so much has happened. NPAs are not there. Most corporates have delivered. The economy is onto a decadal 7 to 8%, 6 to 7 to 8%, that's huge for any large economy in the world. So I think that, it's a perfect setting almost to be spending on capex and growing.
You're expanding all your businesses from paint to cement, even fashion, financial services. Given that we've seen a normalization in global growth and the sugar rush post-COVID is getting over, what's your view?
Sorry, say that again.
What's your view in terms of where the earnings trajectory could move now, given that we have a slowdown in the world?
So I think, it has its impact, but at the end of the day, at least for us, we're building businesses for the long term. I don't think 1 quarter, 2 quarters, even a year matters as much. We are an integrated part of the global economy. India is. So you will have oil shocks, you will have commodity prices. So I think agility, risk management have become more important than ever before. And resilience, something that the COVID left us with.
I'm going to quote one of your comments that you have the right to win in the cement sector. And this comment came when after a big M&A happened in the cement sector. You still feel that you're committed and the cement sector, you have the right to win?
Absolutely, without a trace of doubt. We've been there for more than 40 years. Very deep roots across the country in the business. We understand the business very well. I think the repository of talent and knowledge is huge. So pretty much I stand by that.
You are now challenging the paint industry with that big capex which is coming via Grasim. Any of the other industry which you are looking at challenging now?
No, nothing really. I mean, we're also not challenging. We're not coming in from a challenger's mindset. I mean, we are making an investment that's complementary to our existing businesses. And that's how we are viewing it. If in turn it means that we're going to challenge incumbents, so be it. But that's not the driving factor. The driving factor, I think, is the fact that there is huge value creation opportunity for us.
If I look all the group companies, Mr. Birla, commodity companies, they are in a fine fettle. Hindalco, Grasim, Novelis. There are two companies where I understand that now the work in progress is very strong. Aditya Birla Capital and Aditya Birla Fashion. Can I say those are two companies which are on your radar in terms of the turnaround candidate for the Birla Group?
Well, very much. I think that they're very important companies and businesses for us. We've laid our long-term bets on them. They are in a very fast moving and a fast evolving mode, both of them actually. So lots of upside to see for both ABFRL and for ABC.
Everyone is curious to understand that why is Mr. Birla back on the board of Vodafone?
I think the government has done so much for the sector, and I think it's as a promoter, it's my responsibility to, reciprocate, so to speak, for want of a better word.
I'm going to take the clock back before I take it forward with you. 3 years ago at the Economic Times Award, you spoke to my colleague Aisha and you mentioned about succession planning for the Birla Group. What's the progress on that front when it comes to your son and your daughter?
So both my son and daughter have joined the business. My son for 4 years, my daughter in the last 1 year. I'm 55. I don't see a succession happening anytime soon. But it's always good to groom the next generation. They're both doing extremely well. Very happy to see their commitment, their capability in grasping issues and dealing with people. I think as a leader, it's my duty and my responsibility to groom the next generation.
I'll just take the liberty of asking.
चलिए, इसके अलावा मोतीलाल ओसवाल फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज के रामदेव अग्रवाल से भी बातचीत हुई है और उन्होंने इटना स्वदेश के सीनियर एडिटर अजय शर्मा से बातचीत की. आइए आपको सुनाते हैं.
Mr. Ramdev, almost everybody who matters in India Inc. is here.
Yes.
And of course, not only this, but you always keep meeting top business people. How is business sentiment on ground?
It's building up. I can clearly say that, whatever corporates I'm meeting, somebody is full loaded with the order, somebody is like Maruti. Maruti is ordering not one plant, they're ordering 2 plants. That's significant. It took 35, 40 years to do 2 plants, and another 5, 6 years to do another 2 plants. So I think the mood is building up. Some people are talking about cost reduction. Of course, there are some complaints about rural discretionary not building up. I don't know, I don't understand what's the problem with the rural economy, but I think the broad-based demand is somewhat weaker. But otherwise, I think everything is looking looking to be, warming up in the
We are also having this chat on a day when, despite of all the negatives in the environment, Nifty has crossed the 18,000 mark. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. For some time, I'm not surprised because after I met, likes of all these capital goods companies led by L&Ts and all, I could sense that the mood is building up. And if you look at the banks, in my career of 30-40 years, I've never seen a banking system so clean, not only private sector, but even public sector also. So I think the banking system is ready to fund the Indian economic growth. Political system is ready to really take on to big projects and, ambitious projects and all. So I think we are in for a good time. Now, how good it is going to be, there are a lot of global challenges, geopolitical, but I think this 6-7% growth, I think that is going to happen.
Do you think the bottom is made in the market and this 18-month sideways corrective kind of is coming to an end?
I mean, these are all the chartists and all, they will tell you, but I think if 925, 950 is going to be EPS next year, I think either we are the close bottom or maybe very close to the bottom, what you have seen recently. So I don't see it collapsing by 30-40%. It will take a lot to really bring it down big time. So downside is limited, upside looks to be open now.
You track auto space like from the start of the sector, right? When India was just seeing manufacturing take off. And now Hero Moto, Maruti, Bajaj is coming back after a very long time.
Yeah. So I think, in manufacturing, automotive is like 30-40%, the most important one, and there are a lot of ancillaries and everything like that. So automotive is very important, and that looks to be, I'm really enthused by the second plant announcement of Maruti. It's a huge event. They're very conservative, very planned. They can see the market 10 years ahead. Hats off to, I don't know, there's something big going to happen. Ask them.
तो मोतीलाल ओसवाल फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज के रामदेव अग्रवाल जो कि जाने जाते हैं अपनी सूझबूझ के लिए, बाजार पर अपनी रणनीति के लिए, हमारे साथ जुड़े ईटी अवार्ड्स में और उन्होंने इकोनॉमी पर बातचीत की, वो भी तब जब बाजार में हम आज एक नया शिखर देख चुके हैं। काफ़ी मजबूती के साथ बाजार जब ट्रेड कर रहा है तब बाजार के दिग्गज ईटी अवार्ड्स में हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं और ये मौका इसलिए खास है क्योंकि इस वक्त भारत के सेंटिमेंट्स कैसे नजर आ रहे हैं और लॉन्ग टर्म प्ले भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी कितनी ज़्यादा शाइन कर सकती है ये हम जान रहे हैं। ईटी अवार्ड्स में दिग्गज बैंकर केवी कामत से खास बातचीत की हमारे सहयोगी अजय शर्मा ने, वो भी सुनिए।
So we have with us Mr. Kamath, who doesn't need any introduction, and he's the authority in the banking and now digital financial space as well. So I want to first understand from you, sir, how are you feeling the business sentiment? This is the Oscars of India Inc., right? ET Awards, where we are talking right now. How do you see business sentiment?
It is very positive. It's very positive, and if we wait for a few more days and get the corporate numbers in, you will see that positivity riding through. So we have, at least in India, an ecosystem where inflation is coming down, has come down actually, and interest rates have actually moderated. They were taken up appropriate measure. So thanks to the work done by the central government and Reserve Bank, I think Indian industry is in a good spot, as it were. And I think we'll see the momentum continuing.
Sir, I remember just 2 months back we had a long chat and you had raised a question on the calculation of inflation, and also you had said that the high probability that the numbers may start indicating towards a topping out of inflation. Now a lot of macro data has come. Are you getting more confidence?
Indeed, I think it validates what we had said. And what I had said was also based on some economists, just a very few, saying that there could be something wrong with the data. But I think it's now borne out, a correction that has taken place, that indeed I think there is a moderation that is seen.
So you think that rate hike, the entire process of hiking of rates globally and in India, all of that will also kind of peak out now?
Yeah, I think clearly it has moderated. In India, I think that the last statement was very clear. We'll watch. Of course, cautious watch is required, but I think it is moderated. And globally, we are not yet seeing signs of inflation abating to the extent it should have, given that that the situation is such that there could be recessionary pressures. I think there is a limitation on how high they could take rates. This is Western economies. So it's going to be a very interesting scenario where the prescription that has been taught to us so far, that if inflation rises, raise interest rates, is not working out in the West. So what impact that will have on the rest of the world, we'll see. But we are in a way insulated because we have a strong domestic market. And if we manage our domestic economy well, which we are, I think we are onto a good thing.
So just one last word on growth. India growth. If the earnings reported so far are any indication, there were fears that India growth estimates also need to be trimmed a little in line with what's happening in the rest of the world. What are your thoughts on India growth?
No, I think that my leading indicator for India growth will really be the banking sector performance. That to me denotes where you are a situation where you are near zero NPA. Banks are no longer making provisions; they're making contingency provisions, and NIMs are widening, and ROE is better, which means that the underlying health of their customers is good. If that is so, the moment there is demand pickup and unutilized capacity gets used up, companies will invest. Probably they're already.
तो जैसे कि हमने सुना केवी कामत साहब बात कर रहे थे हमारे सहयोगी अजय शर्मा से, और इससे पहले भी मानसी जितने भी हमने कॉर्पोरेट जगत की हस्तियों से अभी तक बात की है, जितनी भी बातें हमने सुनी है, सब एक सुर में कह रहे हैं कि भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था पर उन्हें भरोसा है। और इतना ही नहीं, आने वाले वक्त में वो इस बात से बिल्कुल इनकार नहीं कर रहे हैं कि ग्लोबल बाजार की अनिश्चितताएं हम पर भारी नहीं पड़ेंगी। वो कह रहे हैं भारी पड़ेंगी, लेकिन यहाँ पर अच्छी खबर ये है कि इसको जानने के बावजूद भी वो कह रहे हैं कि हम टिके हुए हैं, हमारी तैयारी पूरी है। भले ही थोड़ा सा धीमापन देखा जा सकता है, पर ऐसा नहीं है कि हम हमारी ग्रोथ की राह पर पटरी से उतर जाएंगे, हम उस पर आगे चलते रहेंगे। और ये तमाम सेक्टर्स, अक्रॉस सेक्टर्स, हमने बैंकर्स सुने, हम बात ही कर रहे थे कि कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया का जमावड़ा है, लेकिन आपने यहाँ प्रसून जोशी की बात सुनी, आपने मिलिंद देवड़ा की बात सुनी, आपने तमाम बड़े बड़े कॉर्पोरेट हस्तियों की बात कही। तो एक तरह से भारत जिन लोगों के लिए जाना जाता है, जिस कॉर्पोरेट जगत और जितनी भी बड़ी हस्तियां हैं, तमाम क्षेत्रों को मिला लें, उन सब की बातें हमने सुनी। सब एक सुर में यहां पर कह रहे हैं कि ग्रोथ को लेकर भारत जो है अडिग है और बिल्कुल अग्रेसिवली आगे बढ़ रहा है।
और ये हम दिखा भी चुके हैं। कविता, जो आप अभी कह रही थी बिल्कुल सही बात है कि वो बिल्कुल इस बात को नकार नहीं रहे हैं कि ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस हैं, लेकिन ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस होने के बावजूद भी भारत ने जिस तरह से अपनी ग्रोथ स्टोरी को लगातार बढ़ाया है, कई समय ऐसे भी आए हैं जब हमने देखा है कि विदेशी बाजारों में बड़े बड़े चैलेंजेस आए हैं, लेकिन हम उसके विपरीत काम कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा, एक चीज जो अभी आपने कहा ना, मुझे अचानक से क्लिक हुई, और चलिए इस बीच हम एक बार फिर से रुक करते हैं ईटी अवार्ड्स का, क्योंकि हमारे एमडी समीर जैन बात कर रहे हैं, सीधा वहीं का रुक करते हैं।
If we dream of equal opportunity,